In this CineGuru tutorial, we're going to take a quick look at how you can prepare your levels that have CineGuru cinematics in them for standalone. So here is quite a complicated level. Well, the level itself is quite simple, but the cinematic associated with it is really complicated. There's, I think, 30 different camera positions all kind of linked together in one long sequence. If you've seen our infiltration demo, that's what this level is. So I was really looking for ways to kind of test more or less every system that CineGuru has. But as we've seen in the previous tutorials, a lot of CineGuru relies on text files and image sequences and the sort of thing that GameGuru doesn't naturally know to include within a standalone. So there is a way you can force GameGuru to include certain files. So first off, let's think about what files will not be included by default if you were to just export this level as is. Well, firstly, we've got these actors, and the actors are all running an action text. But for GameGuru, it just looks at that as an entity name, and we certainly have nothing in there that has a kind of a .text extension on the end. So GameGuru doesn't know to include the action text that controls these actors, so it won't include that. We've also got these image markers over here, and although kind of these are based on image zones and kind of singular images will work, so I would expect letterbox.png to be included, what won't work are things like image sequences, where we've specified the first image in the sequence, but we don't specify the other 29 images in the sequence. So GameGuru won't know to include those either, so you might get one image copied over, but not the other 29. And then there's other things as well, like the action texts reference subtitles, and they won't be included because they're just text files. And also our action text in this particular cinematic references music. It asks for a specific track to be called in and played during the cinematic. And again, because it's only referenced in a text file and it's not kind of contained within one of these entities, it's not in a sort of a sound zone somewhere, GameGuru doesn't know to include any of this stuff. So what can you do about that? Well, first let's just take a note of our file name here, cg_testing2.fpm. And if we go over to map bank, you can see that there's this secondary file along with the FPM that contains the level. There is this file, cg_testing2.fpp. So an FPP file is a text file that you can create where you can specify files that can be included or disregarded in the building of a standalone. So if I open up this text file, it's pretty straightforward. To create one, you literally just type in square brackets, standalone add files, and then you list out the file names of everything you want to be included. So for this particular cinematic, I had to list the individual file paths to every image in our image sequences. So that was a 30 frame kind of security camera overlay. I had to list out the file paths to my action texts. So there was 2 action texts. I also had to list out the file path to the subtitles because they're referenced in the action text. And lastly, I had to reference the music because that's referenced in the action text, but it's not in a sound zone anywhere in the level, so GameGuru doesn't need to include it. The good thing about doing this is that these images will all get encrypted, just like any other image would in GameGuru. So basically, you just need to create this text file, call it .fpp instead of .text. Make sure it's named the same as your FPM, and when you come to export, you'll have all those files. Okay, and just to prove a point, I've now exported cg_testing2, and if we go into our files and go into script bank and we go to images, for example, you can see that in the security cam folder we do now have all 30 of our overlaid security camera overlays, and they're all encrypted as well, so when we open them up we physically can't see what they are. And the same is true of our script as well, and anything else that we've identified. The only thing that is not encoded at the time of recording is text files, so your action texts will still be readable, and I guess potentially editable, but yeah, there's not really much we can do about that, unfortunately. Everything else will be encrypted. So that's how you can make sure all of the different elements of your CineGuru cinematics are included when you build standalone.